Kieran Elliott returns to his hometown in the novel The Survivors, and the night that he returns to his hometown, a waitress is mysteriously murdered. And the murder of that waitress brings back a lot of very painful memories from a terrible tragedy that occurred 12 years earlier, where Kieran was goofing around with this girl Olivia in these caves that were oceanfront. There's an ocean in the story, and the tide comes in, and so he is pulled into the water, and Olivia too, but Olivia gets away and calls for help. So Kieran's brother, Finn, is on a boat and he goes out and helps him and rescues Kieran. But then Finn and the other person Finn had in the boat tragically die the day of the rescue 12 years earlier. So Finn has to live with that, he was goofing around with this girl, and because of that, his brother tragically died during a storm while rescuing Kieran. But he's struggling with that, and then he returns to his hometown, and it's hard enough to deal with all that when this waitress dies mysteriously. And oddly enough, she is the roommate of Olivia. That's the girl that Kieran was fooling around in the caves with 12 years earlier. So there's a lot of suspicion cast throughout the book at Kieran and Olivia and some of the other characters as the police are investigating this murder of this new girl. Her name is Bronte. And she's a visitor to the town. She's not a local. She's only staying there temporarily for an art project. So The Survivors, the title of the book, is kind of interesting because The Survivors is a statue in the water. It actually wasn't in the water all the time, but I guess people put it in the water to increase tourism. And The Survivors is the statue of these three people that supposedly survived a long time ago. This climate in Australia, where the water can sort of suck you in and take you over in a minute's notice. So those are those survivors. And then there's the survivors, Kieran, who survived and his brother Finn didn't in the storm from 12 years earlier. So the survivors means a couple of different things throughout the novel. I will say I didn't really care for this book. I thought that the transitioning was absent pretty much. I mean, sometimes you're reading about the present and sometimes you're reading about 12 years ago, and it was really confusing. It wasn't really clear. Sometimes I had to go back and reread and say, well, wait a minute, am I reading about the present or the past? I'm not really sure. And the other thing was I didn't especially find the characters that interesting. I didn't really get connected to any of the one particular characters. So I don't exactly recommend this book, The Survivors by Jane Harper. I did finish it. It wasn't horrible, but it was nowhere near as good as her other books. So I wanted to at least do a book review for you because I do love Jane Harper, but I don't exactly recommend this one.